We come to some breaking news that's coming to our newsrooms right now, and this is including some changes in the executive ranks of the government. And this is a statement that has been shared publicly by the chief or the head of public service, which is the presidential action on reorganization of government. And what you're about to see is the continued increase in terms of the strength of the broad-based government. And so President William Ruto has made changes which there are no cabinet secretary changes as at now. So that means there have been changes which are, let me begin with the first one. Now, this shows that Mr. Amos Gadesha has been appointed to be the deputy head of public service in the executive office of the president. Gadesha has been the PS in the Ministry of Public Service. So that is Gadesha. Aside from that, someone of great public interest at this moment is Professor Edward Kisiangani. Now, Edward Kisiangani has been the PS in the Ministry of ICT and Digital Economy. He's been handling the broadcast space, for instance, and the media, so to speak, has been under his watch. And he's been in the headlines of late, and just as he has bbeen having some actions which have been criticized as being outside his mandate. And so this, from the look of it, seems to be a demotion, because now he's an advisor, a senior advisor in the member of the President's Council of Advisors, sitting under David Ndii, and now he's no longer an accounting officer, because as a PS he had power to control budgets, and that's pretty much where a lot of power comes from. And so we see that Kisiangani has pretty much been demoted, moved from being a PS, and now he is one of the advisors of the president in the economic space. Now, many of the changes come here from in the space of principal secretaries. Now, when it comes to principal secretaries, Dr. Jane Kare Imbunya, she's been nominated to be the PS for the State Department for Public Service and Human Capital Development, and that is pretty much where the gentleman we saw earlier on, that is Amos Gadesha was. And Dr. Jane Imbunya she was a member of the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms, and so now she's been nominated to go to the Ministry of Public Service. Then we have Regina Akoth Ombam. Now she has been nominated to be the PS in the Ministry of Investments, Trade and Industry, or MITI. So that is her. Then we have Mr. Cyril Wagunda Odede, and he has been nominated to be the PS for the State Department for Public Investments and Assets Management. That is in the Ministry of National Treasury and Economic Planning. And we look to confirm whether this is an entirely new State Department or whether it is an existing one. We'll confirm that as we go along. Then we have a notable name there, that is Dr. Caroline Wanjiru Karogo, who was the Deputy Governor of the County of Nyeri, and she has been a key person in the Azimio space, a key ally of Raila Odinga, even being part of his campaign team as he was going for the AUC position. And now she has been nominated to be the PS for East African Community Affairs and the ASALs and Regional Development. That's Caroline Wanjiru Karogo. And then we have yet another notable name, and that is Dr. Frederick Oluga Ouma, I should say. He has been nominated to be the Principal Secretary, the State Department for Medical Services. And then we have Ahmed Adisalan Ibrahim. He's been nominated to be a PS in the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, that's specifically the State Department for National Government Coordination. And then we have Judith Nayai Pareno, who's been nominated to the Justice, Rights and Constitutional Affairs space. And now, just to point out that Dr. Karogo, Dr. Oluga, and Pareno are names that have been common when it comes to being on openly seen to be Raila Odinga supporters. And so we wait to see how the list goes on, because we are not done yet. So we've seen the lady who was there before. Let me just go back so you can get the name. That is Judith Pareno, has been nominated to the Office of the Attorney General for General and State Department for Justice, the State Department for Justice. Then we have Dr. Boniface Makoha. Let me just make this a bit larger. Who has been nominated to the State Department for Economic Planning, that is in the Ministry of the National Treasury and Economic Planning. Then we have Professor Abdrazak Shaukat, nominated to be the PS in the State Department for Science, Research and Innovation in the Ministry of Education. This is the position that has been held by the lady that is Beatrice. She's called Beatrice, and we shall be seeing whether she has been moved or whether she has been exited from the executive ranks as such. Then we have Mr. Stephen Isaboke, nominated PS for the State Department of Broadcasting and Telecommunications. So Isaboke is the man who's meant to be replacing Professor Kisiangani, who has, like we said, been moved to the President's advisors on the economy. Then we have Mr. Michael Lenasalon. He has been nominated to be the PS, the State Department for Devolution, that sits under the Office of the Deputy President. Then we have Fikirini Katoi Kahindi Jacobs, who has been nominated to be the PS for Youth Affairs in the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. Then we have the nominee for PS for Children Welfare Services is Karen Agengo Achieng. Karen Agengo Achieng, State Department for Welfare Services. Then we have the next page, Mr. Aiden Abdi Mila, that is the PS nominee for PS in the State Department for Shipping and Maritime Affairs, sitting in the Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, which is whose cabinet secretary is Ali Hassan Joho. Now, reassignments. Now, these are those who were already PSs, so for clarity, they do not need to go through vetting, so they are not nominees. These are substantive PSs who have just been reassigned to different ministries, stroke state departments. So we have Professor Julius Bitok, who has been moved from being in charge of citizen services, where he was rather immigration. Now he's handling he's been moved to the Ministry of Education, the State Department for Basic Education, meaning that he replaces Belio Kipsang, who has been for a while being the PS for Basic Education. He served in this capacity both in the current administration and also under Uhuru Kenyatta's administration, but at a point he was moved to the EAC, but now we see he's been moved away from here, and we'll be seeing as the list goes on where he could be going. Then we have Mr. Teresia Mbaika has been moved to be the PS, State Department for Aviation and Aerospace Development, which to me sounds like a new State Department, but we'll counter-check that and confirm. This is under the Ministry of Roads and Transport, and she has, like I said, been a PS still. We have Ismail Made, who has been moved to the State Department for Special Programs, Ministry of Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Programs, and so he has moved to that ministry. Mr. Hari Kimtai, who is not an uncommon name in the public space, he has been the Principal Secretary for Medical Services, and now he's been moved to the Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs. He is in charge of the State Department for Mining. So he's been moved from Medical Services to Mining, and he has been replaced by Dr. Oluga, at least in regards to just the nomination of Oluga. But for him, it's a substantive move of position. Then we go to the next page. We have Mr. Elijah Mwangi, has been moved to the State Department for Sports under the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, and he is replacing Tum, who has been the PS for sports. At a point, he also was the PS for medical services. And so we see that Tum has been moved. And there we have Dr. Belio Kipsang, who has been pretty much one of the faces of the education system, education space. And he has been moved to be the PS for Immigration and Citizen Services, Ministry of Interior and National Administration. So this looks like a clean swap between Professor Bitok and Dr. Kipsang. So Kipsang has now moved into the Immigration and Citizen Services space, replacing or just swapping positions with Bitok. Now, there are other nominations and appointments, and so here we have some very notable names. One of them is one who at a point had been saying that she just found herself without a job suddenly. The other day she was saying she's now a farmer, and now I guess she's now going to, her nets are going to be cast wide if approved by Parliament. That is Susan Nakumicha Wafula. She was the health CS, and she was one of those who suffered at the time of the dissolution of cabinet, where she was saying one day she woke up as a CS, next she was not, and she has been nominated to become Kenya's permanent representative in the permanent mission of Kenya to the UN Habitat in Nairobi. So this is a potential point of relief for Nakumicha, who has been, you could see she was really looking to get an opportunity, still supporting the president very vocally in the political spaces. You'll be told there is benefit of doing such things. And so we could see she seems to be reaping the fruits, not just of her farm, but also of her activities politically. We also have James Buyekane Muhati. James Muhati has been nominated to be the Consul General in Guangzhou in the People's Republic of China. Then we have Abdi Dubat Fido has been nominated to be the Consul General in Arusha, that's the United Republic of Tanzania. Then we have Engineer Peter Tum. This is the gentleman who we said was the PS for sports and had also held the position of PS for health, medical services. And now he has been nominated to be the ambassador of Kinshasa in Kinshasa or in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And this is a significant one. Why I say this is because we have not had a substantive ambassador in Kinshasa for a while. The one who was there was basically kicked out and told to come back to Kenya. And so we've been waiting to see whether there will be this kind of an assignment, because in light of this, in light of the turmoil that's happening in the DRC and Kenya's place in regards to trying to bring peace in that space, with President Ruto being one of the people who's been leading discussions on the same, as well as former President Uhuru Kenyatta. So we wait to see what the geopolitical and the diplomatic dynamics play around here, if Engineer Tum is approved by the National Assembly. And the next one, coming to the end of this, is Mr. I beg your pardon, Alfred Ombudo Kombundo. And he's been nominated to be the Deputy Head of Mission in Brussels in Belgium. And then we have Mr. Geoffrey Eyanai Kaituko, nominated to be the Deputy Head of Mission in Rome, Italy. And Geoffrey Kaituko, he has had a couple of changes since the Kenya Kwanza government came into office. First of all, before even then, he was the Speaker of the County Assembly of Turkana. Then he was nominated and subsequently appointed to become the Principal Secretary of Labor. Then there was a reshuffle where he was moved to be the Principal Secretary for EAC, in the East African Affairs Ministry. And then now we see he's been moved again, or there's the nomination to move him from that ministry, where we already have a nomination for his replacement to become the Deputy Head of Mission in Rome, Italy. And this is Felix Koskei, the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service, says that the President has transmitted the nominations for appointment to the ranks of Principal Secretaries and the applicable foreign service postings to the National Assembly for consideration and approval in fulfillment of the legal requirements set out under the Constitution. And so that's the breaking news coming to us now. Some significant names, some significant political dynamics at play here, where we are seeing more of Raila Odinga aides being pulled into government. And so we are having a lot more of that at that point. We are seeing a couple of changes there. So just taking you back to, let me just pick from the first page some of the key ones. Professor Kisiangani out of ICT Ministry and going to be a senior advisor and member of the President's Council of Economic Advisors. We have some other significant names here. Dr. Caroline Karugu, who's been nominated to be the PSEAC Affairs, replacing Mr. Kaituko. And we have Dr. Frederick Oluga Ouma, I should say, who has been nominated to take over the State Department of Medical Services, replacing Harry Kimtai, who has been moved to mining. And we have Judith Pareno, who has been moved to be nominated to be the PS, Justice, Human Rights and Constitutional Affairs, which is in the Office of the Attorney General. Yes, Office of the Attorney General and State Department for Justice. Then some other some notable names as well. We could just go by, we could check on the next page just as a reminder. We have Julius Bitok, who has been moved to basic education. Teresia Mbaika moved to the Ministry of Transport, that's Aviation and Aerospace Development. We see Ismail Made has been moved to special programs, and Harry Kimtai, like I said, has been moved to mining. And we still have a few notable names worth repeating just for emphasis. This is the nominees for ambassadors, consuls general, and deputy heads of mission in Kenya's foreign missions abroad. And we have Susan Nakumisha Wafula, former CS for Health, that is who has been nominated to be the permanent representative of Kenya's permanent mission to the UN Habitat in Nairobi. And we see James Muhati, who's also not a foreign person to many in the public space. He's been nominated to go to China. And we see Engineer Peter Tum, who has been moved from serving as the PS of Sports and previously serving in the Ministry of Health, and now to go and be the ambassador in the Democratic Republic of Congo, amid all the dynamics happening there in terms of the turmoil and so much more. And so we shall be digging into this as time goes by. Check out our social media platforms, our websites at NTV Kenya across the board, nation.africa, ntvkenya.co.ke, across the board, just to understand the dynamics around this, what the political undertones and implications are of this, where we are going to be looking at who has been replaced. You might find that there may be a nominee for a certain ministry whose substantive current PS is yet to exit office and they have not been reassigned, which would then mean that they have been dropped from the PS ranks. And so we're looking to comb through this and give you the updates. You don't have to wait until so much later from now. You'll be getting these updates even on our social media platforms, and we'll give you even deeper insight when we get to our bulletins at 7 p.m., 9 p.m. And don't forget, we have NTV Mashinani at 6:30 p.m. And tonight we do have Mduara, and we'll be having an exclusive interview with former Meru Governor, that is Kiraito Murungi, sitting down with Lofty Matambo, speaking on different things that are happening in the Meru space as well as nationally. That's it for our breaking news now. We'll give you more updates as we proceed on our social media platforms. Remember, we are digital fast. My name is Dan Mwangi. For now, we go back to the Wagwan Beats and Bars team.